Right, Ledgers. Can everybody hear me? How is everybody? And you will see Prime XBT website. Once I got audio visual check, we'll begin. You're looking good, bruv. Hi, Alexi, Jamo, Bill, Michael, Team, Johan. Okay. So today we're gonna bring on the legend, my good friend, TraderSZ. Known him for a few years. Nothing planned specifically. Just gonna share his concepts. Hello, Cos. How are you? Hello, Daniel. Laser. So let's get stuck in. Had a bit of a delay. A few things to sort. I mean, there's not that much to update other than what I'm gonna say. In the meantime, before we start, I'm gonna find a chart. I did a snippet video one. So in the meantime, let's get the disclaimer out of the way with. So welcome once again for Bitcoin for Ledgers live stream. I just want to say thanks to our partners and sponsors of the stream, Prime XBT, for making this happen. So if you enjoy and like the content shared, consider using the link in the description. When you click the link and sign up, in the settings, use code TraderSZ, then make your deposit to get the deposit bonus. Get up to 7k deposit. Yep, I checked them out. So you can trade not just crypto, but FX, commodities, stock indices, and it's just a way of showing Prime that you like these to continue. Just being honest. Okay. One second. Find that chart. One last thing. Nothing in this video constitutes financial advice. Seek the help of a professional before embarking with your capital. I'm just finding the chart I had posted. Give me a second. Here it is. That's the chart posted. So let's begin. How is everybody? We're gonna get stuck straight in. I'm gonna do thank you very much, Costa. Hello NJ, how are you? We got John Dice, Google, Tarek. So how many likes is there? Comments here. Let's get the likes up, get the YouTube algos going. We're gonna get stuck straight in. So mainly gonna focus on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And those are the main ones. I mean, I'll cover maybe one or two alts if I get time. I'm looking to do another stream, FX focused, since Prime XBT do offer FX, and I've been doing more FX lately because it's obviously crypto's been kind of dead. Main's gonna come afterwards. I'm gonna do my bit, and then I'm gonna bring main on. Okay. So when the market dries up a bit, I mean, I move to other markets. I mean, FX is my main one. Futures, crypto is actually my main one, despite I just post many crypto. But yeah, so these are the levels, okay, we discussed in the last stream. And the scenarios were, let's quickly recap. I said we're not going to get much. Either wait for the breakout play to get in the sort of trending move, or you're going to have to stick with scalping and day trades. So I had one trade, if you remember. I was long. I got stopped out. I said I run that risk. And then I said, if it deviates, either it comes like here and then gets back above, or it swing fails, doesn't matter. Once it reclaimed back above here, I re-entered, played level to level, target 1, and then it pushed up. I took out the remainder there. So it made back the loss. And again, it's just range bound. So there's not much we can really do about that. Okay? Or do I chart with BitMEX? Doesn't really matter. I mean, I don't know. I just chart with them. Doesn't make that much of a difference. Let's get used to it, I guess. Yeah, that's the only main reason. So since then, it's fuck all. It's just been range bound. Took a few scalps here and there, nothing much. And with FUSD, it was down here. I said in violation, clean break below here. F gave more of a move. I'm gonna go over F. I think F probably looks better, but again, let's prepare for it. So I did a snippet video on my feed. It basically explains what I'm looking for. Let's just break it up. I mean, I'm not gonna go on and make shit up just to make it sound all flowery. It's just not much to update. So let's look at this. The key level for me, okay, is this key low here, okay, which I'm gonna basically repeat, but I'm just gonna possibly map in some day trade scenarios. That's what we can really do, or just don't trade it. That area here we discussed previously, if you recall, that was the first initial high area made, okay, and this can then be considered as a deviation of that retest and full move down. This then here reclaimed. So this is a previous all-time high, but for me, the main level is this. Okay, so it's this area here. Or you can wipe it into one high. Why? Because that was the first high, deviation, retest, sell-off, consolidation, breakout. Once it got above all-time high, parabolic move, but that's the main SR. So for me, this is more of a zone. And while we're stuck here, I mean, we're just stuck here really, aren't we? Okay, now, if we make a clean break below, then I would say, okay, we're probably going to retest here, going towards there. Bigger picture, I am still bearish this market. I mean, macro view. But there's a difference between saying bearish and taking a trade, macro, and just trading, okay? I'm not investing. Investing would be, you know, once it comes down to, I don't know, pretend it's not Bitcoin. I don't know, maybe look at it from here, if it holds, or worst case, here. That would be investing, long-term, whole spot. This is more trading, so you got to understand, when I post tweets, even longs or shorts, it's just trading both ways of the market. Now, if we look, if I'm saying by default, a clean break below this level, okay, it's going to go lower, based on what the reasons I've given. I could be wrong, but this is just my reasoning. Hello, Joshonomics, how are you? Yes, investing for constant. You know, I think this day and age, nobody has the patience for investing. And even those people that say they're investing, they're looking at the chart every 5 minutes. So are you really an investor? So below here, I would say, okay, that is my last line in the sand. And by default, okay, I'm wrong on the longs, or I start shorting the market. Okay, anticipating a move towards here, first target, and then second target, and then we'll see what happens after that. Okay, but that's for me not yet. I don't really want to short a support level. I mean, if I short it, it could go down. Okay, but if I think about it, a clean break below here automatically gets me flipped short. It's still last line in the line of support for me. So I prefer personally, risk to reward wise, and for the reason given, it's worth a punt on a long, even if it's just short term. Okay, and that short term, hello ruler, I'm not saying it's going to go all the way up. I don't know how far it's going to go. One thing I've noticed with crypto is it squeezes. It squeezes more than we think, but I got an obvious level. It's kilo here, that kilo there. If it squeezes and gets back above this region, that then becomes a deviation. Then I'll trade it towards here and then there. There's no long-term investing. It's just level to level. So that's one range. For a line, I could go up to there and collapse. If it collapses, I'd rather take a short there, or I'd rather take a short on some massive rally up. Okay? This is still key support area, which has been proven. Now, if you know something I don't know, and short here goes on, happy days, you're better than me. But for me, it's still support. But if it does go below here, then I'm in short, and I'm gonna go for the levels I've mentioned. So let's include those levels. So I'm gonna really simplify this chart up. I mean, this is the most simple chart. And then we'll go back to the last week's chart where I got more intra-week range levels. Okay? And that's just more of a guidance. The levels are where to enter, a risk reward type of moves. And those levels allow me to day trade because they've got parameters for me to enter and exit. That's all I see it as. So we'll get to that. So those are my next two key levels. If it breaks below, let's get a short out the way with, just in case. I don't know why. I've gone from being perma bearish for a couple of years, being labeled perma bullish. I mean, how funny how it works. But yeah, so clean break below, okay, and hold. It's deviated that key level, got back above. Deviated, come back above. It's still holding that key level until it makes a clean break. Okay, that's capping the downside, and I'm calling that my deviation area. Okay, dev area, whatever. Okay, once it makes a clean break below, then I'm happy to short it. As for my risk, for example's sake, if it comes into here, bounces, I'm gonna look for wherever the swing high is, and I'm gonna cut it above here. Main will come after I'm done my part. Okay, at 20-30 minutes. So I don't know what my risk is for the short. I've got to see. I mean, if it does this, starts holding, then I'll cut on a clean break above here, or I just keep a wider stop, whatever. If it reclaims this cleanly, I'll cut it. Hello, main. Let me make you mod here. So is that clear so far as to why I would prefer longs here for the reasons I've given? Now comes the trigger point. So last week, using the same chart, what I did was I split these levels up. Okay. So what I did was I went to the weekly, what a clean break looks like. So for example's sake, I've gone over clean break many times. A clean break would be, okay, I'll put in the simplest of terms. Say this is a support level, okay? If it breaks above, there's two things. One, it's a deviation. Two, I take a long based on invalidation and it's a trending environment. Or three, if it's range bound, probability wise it's a deviation. But if it holds and then consolidates or breaks above, that I would consider a clean break. So one is based on I have a clean validation. Two is, if I'm not sure, I'll wait for the consolidation, let it hold above, spend time over, and start building structure. Then that's a clean break for me, to keep it simple. And then from experience, by watching chart, you'll probably get more of an idea. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so going back to my parameters, okay, the easy way for this would be, just by a naked chart would have been obviously a swing failure of here, okay? So using those same levels as before, because we're still in that same range, I've got to identify what is capping the market short term. Again, if you can't handle scalps or you can't, then don't trade, okay? This is more for traders. This is a weekly range, okay? Now it's a large range, but if I broke this range down to range high, range low, we're below the bottom half, and that's the midpoint of that range, okay? We're in the bottom half. I then split that into two. We're in the last half of the bottom half, okay? So what we can see that is, okay, there's two ways of trading this. One is you accept we're still range bound, okay? There's no point getting frustrated, just accept it. This is what it is. Either scalp, day trade, or just leave it alone. So my plan is this area here is my focus for now. If it expands above here, that's my second range, okay? And that is also a key level that I've marked out before. So this is where I'm targeting here and here if it breaks out. Now, consolidation leads to expansion, so I would expect this part to be a trend. Now, whether it's just towards here and then collapse or continuation, I don't know. But what I do know is if it does break out above here, for example, not breaking. Let me get through this first. So we can do, maybe main can do some. I don't know. I mean, the way it depends on how you look at trend lines. It doesn't really matter. Trend line is just there, just as, I don't know, makes extra confluence. But for this purpose, it's quite clean. So let's go over the breakout plays first. So you know the short, okay? Okay, so the breakout play, the clean, easy play would be, except this is the range, which is the bottom half, and that range level is capping the market. So we have a parameter for our risk if it doesn't break out. If it breaks out, okay, and holds above, then that's a breakout for me because it's been consolidating for a while. Probability of breakout increases, even if it's just a stop run. I don't care if it's going to go just a bit. That would be my long towards this key level, which I'll cover in a minute. To take out, that's a weekly high there. And then here, I think that's the main area. After that, towards the mid-range. Now, if it comes into here, starts finding resistance, I'm going to put my stops at break even and cut some off. So these two are my profit areas. Okay? I've got to accept we're still range bound. I can't expect a massive move. Just forget the ship posting. I'm keeping it level to level. Now, if it rejects, I'll wait. Possible shorts could be, I don't know, break down below. That would be like, just like this is the deviation. That could be a deviation and I'll target towards here and I'll play the short. Now, after this, okay, either it's going to find some, it's either going to find support and continue or deviate below. I don't know. I don't care about that. Let's continue on. I'll approach it with the same way as this, okay, or this. So if it does all of that and it comes back below, I'll short level to level, target 1, target 2. Does that make sense? Again, it's just level to level trading. Now, if it does break out, I would anticipate a move, break and hold above the mid-range after the turn. Or if it just blasts through, okay, if it blasts through, that's an objective, and previous all-time high is an objective. Separate trade to add in or get back in would be along towards here and the previous all-time high. Now, if I was to remove the levels, that would just be a retest, just like here. So what we had here was, and that could then continue lower or go higher. I don't know. Consolidation. Retests this zone here. Okay. So this could be the same thing. The next XR level, that's a zone. And that's a key zone. So this could be consolidation. Breakout. Towards here. Now whether that's an SR retest to go lower or not, we don't know. So this is where the levels help. If you mark out the range levels, and these range levels have proven themselves to be effective, we can see that mid-range, I mean not the mid-range, let me go back to remind you what that level is on the weekly. It's that initial high they made. Before we spike, that was the initial high made, and that's the high. So for this, the ultimate extreme point would be, if you look at this, if I was to do this, just watch properly. There, that's the extreme point. That's the extreme point. That would be considered as an extreme point. Okay, that could still be, if you're going with lower highs and lower lows, that could still do this. It could do this, run up, and then drop. I don't know. I don't care. And whoever says they can't do that, of course you can do that. I mean, bear my excuse. I'm not saying you will. Okay, but I don't need to worry about that. I'll deal with that at the time. For now, another SR retest be minimum there. Okay, so all I'm looking for, interested in, is if it breaks out, and then we'll deal with what happens there. Does that make sense? Is everybody clear with that? So if it breaks with a big candle down, you mean down or upwards? So there's two ways, okay? Usually what we find is, if it's a breakout of a long consolidation, goes in one way, okay? So what I would do is I'll go with entry based on invalidation. So how do I approach that? Which crypto happens quite often. I think I have covered this, but let's do it again. So say my target is here. We'll cover both downsides, okay? Because sometimes it doesn't give you the perfect retest. So we've got the consolidation. And these kind of breakout plays, I find easier or higher probability to play after big consolidation. If it's the first retest, we often get the deviations and stuff, but it's been consolidating for a while. Let me add the range level, hang on. Okay, so let me draw it on first, the main consolidation. This is the main consolidation, okay? And this is target 1. And above boundary would be target there. So if it takes off, and it's not going to give you a clear retest that we normally used to. Okay, if it does a H1 or H4 candle close, I would look for, or something like this, I would look for, okay, where am I wrong on the idea? Okay, I mean, if it does one candle up in one go, then fuck it. It is where it is. I would go for whatever the swing low is. I don't like the swing low there. So for example, say if it does it here, like this, I'll go for invalidation there, the wider one. Now, two options. One is either enter and accept that's where you're wrong regardless, and decent risk to reward, that's fine. Option 2 is enter small, so you have some exposure, because you know where you're wrong regardless, okay? You know exactly where you're wrong, and you can flip. And then you'd say, okay, either if it goes my way, I've got some exposure. If it doesn't, I'll add the remainder on the retest, and as it confirms, because you can get either, but at least you got something. But the main thing is, you know where you're wrong. If you know where you're wrong by default, you have a trigger. It may not be the best one, but you have something. And same for the downside, exact same thing. If it's a fast breakout, 1 hour candle, for example, like here, for example's sake, and it still had, I don't know, for a target in mind, well, that would be invalid, okay? You would have wanted a retest breakdown, but you didn't get that. Invalidation above here, you know where you're wrong. So it may not be the greatest, but you have something, and say that's the target. That's just an example. Does that make sense? So I'm waiting, and I think the next breakout is going to hold. Now, if it does, say, fucks me over, and I get stopped out on this, that would be most likely we're going to go lower, and then I'll take the hit. I've got a new invalidation in place, and I look to short it. That's a deviation done. Let's play back towards here. At least target 1, target 2 within the range. It's not guaranteed to go all the way lower, but at least towards stops within this range. Okay? No, not really. I'm just doing what I look for. Okay? That's it. Now, short term, okay, got to cover within the range now. So those are the easy breakout plays. Short term within the range, there's a couple of setups I'm looking for. I mean, this could easily, come a lot lower. So, let's go with this chart here. May not won't be too long. Most time spent on Bitcoin, and I'll bring you on. Quickly go through Ethereum. Okay, for intra week right now, Smash 2 like 694. We're gonna use the weekly open strategy for right now. Okay, I mean it's just dead market. I mean, you're gonna be scalp. If you can't scalp, wait till things clear up. There's the weekly open marked in green. Okay, so one is a breakout within the range. One is the normal play. We know this is a key pivot. Okay, from before. I don't really want it to come down again, but if market the way it is where it is. I'm gonna get rid of this for a second. We haven't really retested that. Okay, so two scenarios. One is deviation, stop run, and then step in. We got a low there. Scenario one is a pullback scenario, retest. Now, if I want to be aggressive, I'm going to be more conservative with this one personally because it's been so many times. I mean, I personally think it should go up from here, but I don't know. This box what? I'm going to wait for it to reclaim back above here. And if it reclaims back above here just like this, I took a little scalp. I could only play towards here and there. It didn't even reach those clean highs. I'll play the same one. Or if I do enter here, based on invalidation, I'll cut it below here. Small position here, add the rest there. It just keeps coming back. That's the only reason. But it's still a support level, so maybe smaller risk. Enter there or wait for it to reclaim back above the weekly open. At that point, the candle should look like this. Okay, and then we look for the expansion. Based because it's been consolidated for a while, I would probably play it towards a bit higher, at least towards here, in my opinion. Okay, so we've got this region as first target area. Take out these stops. So that will be my trigger. Target 1, target 2, and then we'll see what happens. Does that make sense? Okay. And if I want to look at it from a simplistic point of view, okay, leave whatever's happening here. What are my position size? That's none of your fucking business. What do you mean percentage wise? Just a breakout play, so that would be considered as a deviation. Not confirmed yet. Breakout, hold above, and slam it towards. Yeah. There's your trigger. Put in a clean break below. Target. And that's it. I've just mentioned different ways because it's just different ways of looking at it. That'll be valid. Oh, percent-wise, sorry. I don't know. It varies. 0.5%, 1%. Depends on the account size, really, isn't it? I really go above 0.5%. Depends. If it's a swing trade, I build it up to bigger because I've got more time to cut it, more breathing space. But if it's scalping, I use a lot smaller risk. It's just too tight. Have time to think. Okay, that's done. So let's go into Ethereum. I don't use CVD. How much vitamin D? Depends. Are you a man or woman? Okay, that's more or less it. Is everybody clear with Bitcoin? There's not much else to say other than that. I've really got no other view. It's just a tough one, really. So keeping it tight or just leave it alone. That's all I can say. Okay. Now F, I like the look of F. Now whether it does that or not. So we spoke about this. Hello George, how are you? I spoke about F and F bigger picture. If I was to zoom out, okay, F looks a bit better to me. Okay. Now F, I gotta say we're still range bound with this. Okay, everything I'm saying is more range bound place. Now if you can't trade range bound, just leave it the fuck alone. We got this. That's ultimate range low, but we're around the mid range is where it's finding support. So my thesis on this is play range bound until it breaks. If it comes into here, I'd expect a move towards here. If it, I don't know, deviates, gets back below, I'll play it down, ping pong till I'm wrong. Or clean break below here, play towards there. Until it's made a clean break above or below, it's gonna play like that. Okay? That's it. It's just chop. But I just look at it to see, I mean, if we look at it, I mean, if it's coming to support, and I'm thinking, even if it's a small scalp, looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, it tells me which one they better play. And when it came into support here, I played the F long, came back in, played the F long. So I rather prefer F longs as long as it's above the blue box. If it breaks below this trend line, starts holding, and say I'm bullish Bitcoin, Ethereum for whatever reason, then Bitcoin the better longs. If I'm bearish Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ethereum's the better short. That's how I see it. That's it. Okay. Richard Hart's coin. Hex. Is Hex a good project or is he a scam? I just don't know. All I see is memes of him online. I mean, I don't like the clothes, but whatever. I don't know. I don't know about Hex. I don't know. I just see people taking the piss out of it. So with this pair, I understand that we are at some sort of resistance area within. So we'll treat this as our range. Okay. So this is our range. Now, again, just playing it level to level. So if it breaks above here, that would mean, and if it holds above this, so it's short-term resistance. If it breaks above and holds, now if F is breaking out, then that would be probably mean towards here. And at that point, I'll see what happens. I would prefer Ethlongs if the others line up. And that is it, really. Okay, that is it. Survive. What do I think of Jews? I think Jews are good people. They're Christians. I have a lot of Jewish friends. We're all human. Religion aside, first and foremost, you're all human. And just like you get bad Muslims, you get bad Jews, bad Christians, bad everywhere. It's okay. It doesn't mean you brush everybody else. I like Jewish people. In fact, when I look at my lineage, it's actually Jewish. Where I'm from. But anyways, fuck that shit, man. Just be everybody's people, man. Don't talk about that kind of shit. But yeah, I have no problem with Jews, Christians, whatever religion. As long as you're a good person, that's all that matters, man. Humanity first. I mean, if you think about God, you think you're all God's creatures. You think God's gonna say, well, I'm gonna send those fuckers to hell because whatever. We all worship one God, different ways. So just be a good person. I mean, you can be a Muslim, and if you're a son of a bitch, who the fuck cares about you? You know what I mean? There'll be people. Anyways, that's that done. So going to Ethereum now. Well, if you look at Ethereum, the first play was here. You know what the problem is? A lot of people interpret religion in a bad way, and religion is used as a political mechanism. Study how religion evolved from how we first taught, I mean, as a Muslim first. These issues we raise now were never raised before. They're just more as divide and conquer type of shit. Like if you look at the caliphates and stuff, shit was added into the religion to suit the people at the time, to create fear, because people were, not listening. So fear, religious fear, you can't question it. So loyalty out of that. Same with the Crusaders, same with Muslims, same with every religion. So people manipulate it. But that's how we look at it, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, if you look at the Prophet's time, if you look at a Muslim, a lot of Jews and Christians used to go to him for judicial stuff because it was fair. He doesn't look at whatever. But now it's fucked up. The Muslims against Jews. Fuck that shit. Be a good person. Worry about yourself, man. Worry about your fucking account. If it scams you, leave everything else alone. Okay, so let's carry on. Oh, wish one God. I mean, everybody's gonna be in their own grave. As long as you're good people, people treat you the way you are. All humans. Let's carry on. Imagine you were God and you created 7 billion, I don't know. He said, well, 2 billion I'm gonna send to hell. Shut the fuck up, man. It doesn't make sense. That's simple. But it's a political shit. That's all it is. If you look at the most Muslim religious countries, they're the most anti-religious people you get. But anyway, let's carry on. I keep digressing. FUSD. The first scenario was here, okay? And I said a point long and then cut in a clean break below, okay? Or confirmation, once it forms some structure, and just towards here. And that was it. That's it. One last point. I mean, I live in a non-Muslim country and their values and how they do things are probably more Islamic than Muslims. So, what's that? What does that say? I don't care if heaven or not. Just be a good person. We deal with heaven and hell once you die. I don't know. Maybe I need to be buried with a fire extinguisher. But yeah. Who cares? You need to worry about that. Worry about the present. I mean, we've got to worry about Bitcoin price first before anything else. I mean, the Bitcoin goes to hell. Fucking hell. Shitstorm that's going to happen. Anyways, let's carry on. So that's that there. Now we're above this level here. So the plan from there was, if it makes a clean break and hold above, then higher up in this range. Now, the issue is, it keeps deviating back below. It's using this range level as a mean. What is that level I've marked out? Look at the weekly. Okay. It's deviating here. Now, if I look at this, selling coins haram. Well, gambling in especially this market is haram as well. Fucking hell. Are you thinking of involved in a Ponzi? You're involved in Ponzi? Not only that, you're fucking using the blockchain to avoid tax as well. Don't talk to me about haram. Fucking hell. Pray for Bitcoin. Everybody pray for Bitcoin. Okay, so let's look at this. So, serious note. F, again, we could get a structure like this. Consolidates, rallies up. And if you think about it, even if it is a scam Ponzi, okay, and these big, I don't know, holders of it want to dump it. I don't think they're going to dump it here. Or even if they are, they're going to probably scam the market up. Whether how high it goes, I don't know. And then lower. If it breaks below here, then okay, clean break below, and then we send it lower. So, similar thesis to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is a key macro area, I would consider this my key area here. Oh, that's previous all-time high. But this was the turning point for me. Why that? Because this, if you look at it, it was support found here. And then once it deviated, got back below, resistance, sell-off. See that wick into there? And then parabolic move. Support here. It's still support to prove it otherwise. Okay? So if it broke below here and held, then, I don't know, probably around here, I will then look to short it. Okay? But this is still support. Or I want to short on some sort of rally. Whether that's a swing failure of here, play the range, or whether it's here. I mean, it happened here before. There's no reason why it can't happen. Okay? That's my opinion. Now, whether it gets there or not, I will still take profits in between. So let's look at the trade plans. So based on that, I don't really want to short support, but I would short support become resistance or a big rally up. Okay, so let's get that context in. Now, if I look at this is last round, then I want to bring main on. Okay, if I look at this, what have I got marked out? I've got monthly ranges marked out. So we're back within previous month range. So we've established some key support area for a possible bounce. Whether how long it's lasting, it doesn't matter. I'll play it level to level. Okay. How do I feel about CFA? I don't know. It's just joking, I think. So within here, I'm going to look for a target. We've also got previous all-time high there. So that would be an objective for price. And after that, if it breaks above here, then I'll play that range. After, we'll deal with level to level. So, hello Chase, how are you? Go to the weekly. It's starting to turn a bit. Okay. Could this be a possible deviation? I mean, it depends on where you draw it from. I mean, if I want to fit my bias, I'll draw it from here. If I want to be bearish, I'll draw it from there. It doesn't fucking matter. Okay? But it is starting to turn a bit from the support area. So, having said that, what's the key level that matters to me? Short term, it's, well, this key support level established right now. Okay? So, my trigger plans. 2 plans. Well, as long as it doesn't make a clean break below here, we're good. So what I'm going to do is mark out my plays. One is trend continuation. The second is a deeper pullback play. So having said that, we've got this support area here. Now, on Bitfinex, it took out these lows. And Binance, it didn't. But regardless, those lows can be left in for later on. This is a short-term range. And this is what's capping the upside. Okay? Now, around these levels, I'd rather take longs unless it makes a higher move up. What's the next target? This is a weekly high there. So keeping it short term, 1290. Okay. I'm going to play either it gives me a deeper pullback, retests this area, and then deviates back above. This is the range I'm playing. That's then my long. Put in a clean break below, play back towards range highs. If it doesn't give me a pullback and goes for me, because I took a long here yesterday. Okay. And I trim some off, stops our break even. Right now, I don't want to short it for the reason I've given. If I'm correct and it's been consolidating for a while, it'll probably shoot up. So I'd rather miss it or play the breakdown play or play the breakout compound. So right now, what I'm looking for is breaks above, enters this range, and I'll split it down into a simpler range. If it breaks above, then that's a weekly high there. And level to level, if I add in that again, so that would be previous all-time high range. Okay, so if this is a deviation and it's not going to go lower, then this is the trend continuation that's capping the market short term. Clean break above and hold. Target 1, and then target 2, possibly towards the previous all-time high. Now this could do that or continue. I don't care, but I'm looking for these two as my objective. Here, here, and then there. Okay, does that make sense? How would I feel about? Okay, it's going to squeeze higher. I mean, you got to be prepared for it. You can't really rule it out. Okay, what I'm going to do is mark it like this. So this would then become a deviation. That's my ultimate range high short term. And within that, we've got this range here. Okay, so if I play level to level ranges, so if it reclaims back above here, so I play it towards here, if it breaks above and holds, then that's a range, a deviation then. That's my long, target 1. If it turns, I'll cut it or take profit. If it then reclaims, just like here, we've entered this range, That's the deviation. I'll play level to level there. That's all I'm doing. But that's all I am really doing, level to level. I don't have a clue what it's going to do. Say if it did something like this. Say if it did something like this. Sorry, man, I know I've delayed you. I even said to you a bit earlier. Say, I don't know. Say if it did this. How will I look for shorts? Yes, I will be open to shorts. I mean, there's two ways of doing it. One is where's the objective. It would be towards here. Two ways of doing it. Sometimes it does fuck you over. These run it. It then rejects. I'm gonna look for shorts. Trade towards here, and then that 2021 low towards there. Or the ultimate short for me would be time with Bitcoin, clean break and hold below. I'll play towards there. Okay, so if I want to simplify it, last chart, and then I'm gonna bring main on. I'm gonna look for this. So if you want to really keep it simple, there's two ways of doing this using June's range. So here I've got June's range. Why am I using June's range? Because we are within the June leg. Okay, we are within this leg here. So I don't see any reason why, even you can't go all the way up. I'm not saying you will, but that 1420 lines up with previous all-time high. So if we saw the chart I posted yesterday, if you want to create boundaries, we look at this. This is a decent boundary here, and it clears that there. So I would be targeting at least 1290, which lines up with that weekly high. If it deviates, every deviation of this reclaim would be a long for me, targeting 1, which is halfway point of this, target 2. If I don't like the consolidation here, then I can wait for the breakout play, which would mean consolidation turns to expansion, breakout, hold above, it holds, just like here. So it broke out, it held. Once it broke above that, remember the longs I took? And that would be my long, target 1, and then target 2. That's a separate range play. Okay? And that's it. Is everybody clear with that? Main, are you in the house? Oh, I'm gonna... Is everybody clear with that? What do I personally think? I don't know. I mean, if equities rally, I do believe equities rally. I'll do a separate snippet video on that. Okay, because I don't want to keep main too long. I don't know. I'll time the top with equity. I personally think in January we sell off. I think we do squeeze up in December. And then we'll collapse in January, I believe. I still, bigger picture, I still think new lows. But even short term, I mean, I'll show you examples of that. I may do another stream just for FX, and I can maybe explain that better. But again, I'm open to being wrong. That's it. I mean, there's not much else. Oh, but again, I'm open to being. Yo. Hello, man. Mute me, bro. Yo, man. Hello?
Yo,
I think you should meet me on YouTube. How's it going, man? There's not much else. You gotta mute me on YouTube, bro. You mute me, bro.
yeah, let me just get a mute here going. Sorry, one sec.
Can you guys hear?
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, just mute me on YouTube. We'll just talk through here. There's a bit of a delay with them. Yes, main's in the house. Guys, can you
hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, fam. I'm gonna bring you on. So
Testing.
Everybody,
Hello.
testing. I'm watching the YouTube chat. There's a bit of a delay. So this is Trader Main. I think all of you know Trader Main.
Give me 1 sec.
So I can let him get set up. I mean, Main's been. I've known him for years. He's been one of my friends for good. I don't know how long has it been, Main? FX days. And
Can you hear me?
Yep. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello. Okay. I can't hear SZ.
You can't hear me?
But that's okay. So as long as you can hear me, that's what matters.
Yeah, I can hear you. I mean, I'll DM you. I mean, Trader Mains is handle. I've known him for
God,
years.
2013.
Oh, his name's. But you, my
I can only hear you through the YouTube video,
okay.
so it's just a little
I'll
delayed.
DM you. You take it away. So I'm gonna let Main do his thing. I've known him for years. Gave him a follow. He's another PA legend. One of the first in CT that taught a lot of people. And yeah, carry on, bro. You do your thing.
Annoying.
I know things from your side. Try leave it and join again. Main's got the same lag as me.
Oh God.
Is it better now?
I don't know. I don't know if you can hear me, but I can hear you.
I can hear you, bro. I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, I can hear you now too.
Okay, that's better. Finally.
Beautiful.
Okay, so let me make another reintroduction. Trader Main, I've known him for God knows how long. From the beginning, when I came on Twitter. I mean, I've been trading before Twitter, but price action, good friend of mine, legendary trader, turned to crypto before me. So a bit of a snake, and then I joined him with over. These snakes are making money in crypto. Joined him, and he's mainly price action trader. And you know what? Just take it away, fam. What's your view on Bitcoin?
Yeah, so thanks for having me on, man. I've been looking forward to this one. Obviously, been longtime friend and follower. SZ was one of the first guys that I learned from, in the space. So an absolute legend in his own right. And a lot of the stuff I do is absolutely influenced by him. And a lot of the stuff, basically everyone who does price action on Twitter is influenced by him. But that's pretty obvious. You're hearing people talk about deviations, ranges, you know exactly where and who they heard it from first. So my thoughts on Bitcoin, I'm very similar to you. And I'll go over kind of my thoughts on Bitcoin very quickly. And I'm going to show you guys a little concept that I use to kind of trade level to level and how I've managed to make some good money over the last, year plus. Even if you don't have a high time frame bias, just some little things that you can do to, find trades, every week. So I'm of the belief that we're due for a squeeze. So I'm kind of in the same boat as you. And I genuinely believe, and you can let me know your thoughts on this, is I thought before this whole FTX debacle happened, right, when we were trading around here, I thought all of the makings in the macro environment were lining up for Bitcoin to rip.
Yeah, I agree.
25K, right? Like risk looked good. The dollar looked top.
1 second, bro.
Everything was lining up. And I was like,
is your screen
we're going to bounce.
Can you move the screen just so I know it's not frozen?
Oh, yeah. I wonder if that's not showing up here. Let's just see. Yeah, here. Does that show up?
It's showing something, but it's seeing frozen.
I just drew a. Oh, it's quite delayed, huh?
Yeah, it's weird. It's been like that for a while.
There we go.
There's two mains.
You should.
And then close the screen, sharing, and then.
And reshare it.
Yeah. And then I'll make this one presenter.
Okay.
I'm gonna hide the screen for a second.
This one. Share this.
Oh yes, now I can see it. You got a circle drawn.
Yeah, got a circle drawn there.
Right one. Let's go, carry on.
Okay, so well, I honestly thought, when we were trading here before the whole FTX debacle happened, we were lining up for a squeeze. I genuinely believe that we were queuing up to have a big bounce to 25K. I thought that just kind of the dollar looking topped, equities looking ready to ramp. Everything was lining up. And then naturally we had the FTX thing happen. Dollar dropped. Stocks ripped higher. Equities looked good, and Bitcoin dropped 10%. So I'm of the mindset that I still think we're due for some sort of bounce. I would love to see, very similar to you, a retest of this kind of floor that we had previously lost. So call it like 18 to 19,000. I would love to see that area get a retest here on crypto. So if you're looking at the low time frame and you're looking how things are kind of, lining up, I do think that this could be, like you said, just one little, deviation here potentially. That would be the most bullish scenario I can imagine on Bitcoin, is that, this FTX news is what sent us below. Let's get a back test first. And then if we're able to kind of reclaim that previous price floor, then by all means, I don't see why you can't target, 22K first, and then 23K, and then as high as, 24, 25K. I think that kind of downtrending line that I thought we were going to rip above before is still very much an area that I think can get ran over, on some bullish momentum. So that's kind of my immediate term plan. I'm looking for reasons to be bullish, at least into this previous price floor.
Yeah.
Obviously on the low time frame, there's going to be longs, there's going to be shorts, but just from kind of a general thesis, I think we have a shot to get back to 19K. I would love an opportunity to get a back test there. And then, like you said, we see what happens when we get there. I think one of the most common problems people have in Twitter is they try and guess 3, 4, 5 moves in advance, right? I'm in the business of guessing one. I want to guess what might happen next. And can I make money on what might happen next? Can I make a calculated bet? If I can, great. I don't care about what happens after that. And I think you trade very similarly. It's level to level. Can I trade from this level to that level? Great. And then when we get to that next level, now we make a new plan. Are we going to go to that next level of expansion, or are we going to retrace? Was this just a deviation? We're just going to pull back in the range. And I think if people simplified their trading to that kind of language, what's going to happen next? I'm trying to predict one move in advance instead of 3 or 4. It's very nice to have the multi-line squiggle on your chart. Be like, we're going to do this, then reclaim here, and then do this. And then you want to collect the cloud on every little up and down. I don't really give a shit. If I can predict this leg or this leg,
bro, feeling triggered,
or this pullback, right? That's all I really give a shit about. So I think people need to start thinking like that as well. So when you zoom in on Bitcoin here, let's see if we get this. Here we go. We zoom in. We'll go to some like intraday shit here. So everyone knows why I kind of got long down here. I covered it in yesterday's stream, but very simply, it was just a run on these lows, right? So we had the run on these lows, and then we consolidated. And so one of my favorite setups is, whether you want to call it an SFP or just a reclaim, it doesn't really matter to me. But when we have a low, you draw that level out. If we're able to trade below and then get back above, this is my favorite kind of trade setup. And that's exactly what you got right here, right? Trade below the level, get back above, because it gives you that very clear and easy invalidation. Soon as we trade below the level, you can say, okay, anyone who was below there got wiped out. So they're done. And if we're able to reclaim that level, you now have your risk pretty well defined within the area that traded below that low. It doesn't have to be a perfect SFP every time. I think people get caught up in the nitty gritty, being like, oh, it's got to wick below and close above. I don't give a shit. If it trades below the level and then reclaims that low, to me, I'm looking at the very least some sort of mean reversion in the other direction. You can do this on any chart, on any time frame, on any asset, and you can build an entire strategy around this type of trading setup without needing to have some sort of macro bias. It does not matter that the high time frame trend is down here. All that matters is we ran a low and we reclaimed it. Okay, look to the left. Where are the obvious targets? Here, here. Okay, you can structure a trade right there. And then you can do the exact same thing on the reverse. When we run a high here, trade above it, get back below. Where's the obvious targets, right? Probably here. You can now structure a trade knowing that this area that we spent on the other side of that higher low, that is your risk. So that's what I've been doing for the majority of, kind of this range, this very large range. Obviously, before we had this expansive down move, it's what I was doing up here.
Yep.
When we had these large swings, here, it was very simple to me. Once we ran above, this high, for example, got back below it, where are you targeting? You look to the left, right? Okay, so that would be target 1, target 2, target 3. The high time frame bias being up or down is irrelevant. I'm playing a mean reversion strategy based on a high or a low getting run. And then I'm targeting previous levels on the left. And the same goes for the bullish side, right? Anytime we ran a low, reclaim it, look to the left and get your target. So I think having that kind of in mind, you can see on Bitcoin here, the most obvious, what I just do is I look for an obvious level. The most obvious low to get run was here. Okay. So now what becomes the other side of that trade or the other side of that range? Well, to me, it looks like up here, 17, 17.2. Whether you want to use a range tool to pick the high or the low, do whatever the fuck you want. But it's a very simple concept of, okay, well, we went like this. Now I'm going to target maybe something like this. And that's as simple as I'm keeping Bitcoin right now. Do I think there's a chance that we trade much higher? Absolutely. But I'm not trying to guess 3 or 4 moves in advance. This was the most obvious level to get run here on the underside. So now I'm going to target that other side of the range. And that's effectively what I'm doing right now on Bitcoin. I'm just saying, okay, we ran that low. Now I'm going to target the range high. Anyone who knows me knows I suck at TradingView and I don't know how to keep my drawings. There we go. And that's kind of what we're getting here, right? It's a pretty straightforward idea. We came and we ran the range low. Now we target the range high. So I'm bullish. I'm still in my long. I longed here. For those of you guys that watch my streams and are following on Twitter, we posted all this. We said, hey, this is resistance. I'm looking along a pullback. And we're getting that pullback now. And now my target is very simply here. Some sort of probably extension above this range high, run all the highs out here to the left, and then we decide. Ultimately, though, I do think that there's a good chance on Bitcoin that we get some sort of larger pump. Obviously, we would need the dollar to continue to show weakness. I'd like to see equities extend further to the upside. But that's kind of my short-term plan, is at least to 17, 17.2 on Bitcoin, and then decide. I think if you look at the weekly, like you were mentioning, we have this very large down leg, right? Would love to see some of this kind of gap get filled into this weekly range here. So if you take your fib tool from your high to your low, right? We would love to see this kind of upper part of the range, maybe 19.5 to 20K, fill in some of this big inefficient candle to the downside. And I agree with you. I think Ethereum looks a little better. I mean, FBTC looks a little bullish while it's still range bound, but we also have like a pretty clear divergence here, right? Like just looking at the weekly, Bitcoin made the clear lower low, right? Whereas Ethereum's making a higher low. So if you had to pick one, right? I think Ethereum's probably the higher beta play to the upside. You get that kind of, this is something that I know you use a lot as well in currencies, right? Like if you're looking at euro versus the pound, which one do you want to long? Well, look at the dollar, look at the euro, look at the pound, then look at the euro versus the pound, determine which of the two assets is the strongest. People don't think that cross-market analysis is possible with crypto, but you have all the ingredients, right? You have Bitcoin USD, Ethereum USD, you have Ethereum versus BTC, and you have the dollar. So you have every single part of the fraction on its own and versus each other. You can determine which of these assets is going to be stronger based on doing that similar analysis you'd do in Forex.
100%.
So that's one of the things that drew me to crypto in the first place, right? Was being like, oh, a lot of this stuff that we're already doing in currencies, it works here, right? And I remember, I'm old enough in crypto long enough. You remember when people thought the dollar was irrelevant? People were like, there's no correlation to the dollar. Fuck the dollar. And I'm like, what are you talking about? If you're trying to tell me the bottom is in on crypto, then you're telling me that this is the top on the dollar. Because that's the same argument, right? Like if this is not
the mainstream, isn't it?
Now
so-called
everyone's talking about the
institution,
dollar, right?
and the ES, a BTC 500.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just funny how that works and how things come full circle. But to me, like the dollar chart is so obvious. Like if you're saying I want to sell my dollars to buy Bitcoin, because that's what you're doing. If you're buying Bitcoin right now, you're selling dollars. That's the transaction. So you got to hope that the Bitcoin chart is at the bottom and the dollar chart, because that's the asset you're selling, is at the top. It's no different than when you were buying dollars for crypto back in April. You're buying the bottom of the dollar, which if I go to the Bitcoin chart and I go to April of 2021, guess where we were? We were at 60K. So you're telling me this is not an inversely correlated asset? It's the fucking denominator. It's the denominator of the transaction. The DXY is the denominator. So this is absolutely a chart you need to be paying attention to. And again, you have all the ingredients here, all the things you need to take your analysis one more level deeper than just looking at the Bitcoin chart. You can look at the dollar as well and say, okay, dollar's at resistance, Bitcoin's at support. That makes my argument stronger, right? So, yeah, I ultimately though, I'm hoping just kind of for a general retest of this price floor on Bitcoin. On Ethereum, I think Ethereum is the stronger of the two. If you just look at the charts side by side, I think it becomes pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Like if we look at each of these on the daily here, Ethereum didn't take the low, right? Talking about divergences again here.
Yeah.
Bitcoin ran its low, Ethereum left equal lows in. To me, that's a sign that Ethereum is stronger than Bitcoin. But very, very similar kind of plan. And just looking at the structure as well, I think Ethereum just generally looks better. It looks stronger. This looks like a higher low.
Yeah,
where this is an obvious lower low.
Bit cleaner structure for me personally, the way I read price.
Absolutely. And I think on Ethereum, I think you nailed it. Like I think if we're able to get above this kind of floor here,
yeah,
1250, let's call it, there's a lot of air up to 1500.
I personally
right?
think 1500 gets taken, and then we'll take it from there. What happens?
Yeah, the problem is people want to go, okay, well, when are we going? I don't give a shit, right? It's how soon can we get to here? Okay, and then I'll decide from there. But if, like, I mean, here, look, the drawings are back on now. I mean, that's pretty fucking clean if you ask me on Ethereum. That looks like it wants to trade higher. So that has me pretty comfy. I feel pretty good about that.
I think
but
soon
yeah, I mean,
we'll resolve soon. I mean, we've sat down
yeah.
so many times before. They're gonna fucking just nuke the market. Absolutely.
I mean, do you not think that based on all the bullshit that's happened, we'd be lower?
I think that. Like, I think that. I mean, it still hasn't pushed that low. It went a bit lower than I thought initially, so I took a couple of hits. But again, the positive side is we're just playing it level to level. If it does break out, then you can start thinking about more swing type medium term trades.
Yeah.
But yeah, I personally think even if they are going to nuke it lower, I personally think it's going to go higher. People disagree; they have their own reasons. But again, we're still just playing the chart up or down.
And how much lower can it like how much lower can you reasonably expect it to go? Like that's my kind of thing as well with like crypto. It's like I do think I don't personally think the lows are in, but Ethereum is down what? Over 80% from all-time high, even more. Right? Like it went down as low as 82% from all-time high. Like this is definitely at least where you want to be paying attention to the bottom forming. I think we're in that area. I don't know if we're there time-wise yet, but we're sure getting close price-wise. I think the majority of the super aggressive selling is already over, barring some other crazy disaster. And I do think that some sort of big squeeze before another low is not out of the question in the slightest. And I think that would catch a lot of people off guard. I think a lot of people are just automatically uber bearish right now because of all the shit that's going on. And I don't think this is the time where you want to get super, super fucking bearish. We're 80% off the high. Basically everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. To me, that's got the mixings for a squeeze more than it does for just straight up further downside. Yeah. Obviously equities, and this is an exact example of that trade setup I was talking about, guys. Soon as we reclaim that low, your bias becomes bullish, right? And you can now start looking for longs. It seems very simple, but it's really that easy. People don't seem to realize, like, I don't need to know that anything else on the chart other than we just took out a major low. If we start trading back above that, my bias is now set.
I think it squeezes. How high do you think equity squeeze? I still think it takes that September high and possibly 43.50s. I think September high is on the top.
That's like here?
Yeah, around there.
Or is that here?
I
had 42.50 as a level.
Oh, yeah, 41.70s, I think. And then maybe 43.50, because that would be the swing high. Maybe swing fair and up. But I still think we're in range bound until proven otherwise, where you've got your low marked out, and then around 41.70s.
Here, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah, around there. Yeah. I think that's the range we're in. Deviations both sides. And range bound till proven otherwise is the easiest play.
And we could absolutely just put in a lower high relative to this one, like right here.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the DAX and the FTSE and stuff, how much they've squeezed up, I think this.
What was the one you were showing that looks like it's ready for all-time highs? FTSE, is that this one?
No, that's DAX. UK 100 or something on TradingView.
There it is.
Yeah, that's look at that.
Like how do you squeeze? I think the logic, at least how I think of a chart like this, is why squeeze all the way up here and not run some of these highs?
Yeah, I think all-time high, it's got more data to it, but I think those highs at least get taken. If you're going to retrace all the way back up there, I find it hard to believe when I can't take those.
Not run one of these highs. Yeah, I think that's a good argument. What do you think about metals? Because I think, are you still long silver? I'm long silver, but it's been absolutely dreadful. I really like silver on the monthly. I think this is a really clean chart.
I'm going to be squeezed on that, but I think 24s is my target on that. I'm currently long silver, but I've been long since 19 area, so I scaled in my final position. And again, with gold and silver, they play a bit differently, but I think long-term silver and gold go up. But I'm currently long silver.
This is a beautiful monthly chart, in my opinion. Like, this is setting up for a massive move in the next year.
Definitely. It's one of those patience you see on it.
The problem is if you're trading this like with leverage or whatever, like CBS made a good point. He's like, just buy calls for next year and just don't look at them. Because if you're in some sort of leverage margin position here and you're staring at your P&L, it's going to drive you nuts, especially if you're oversized. But to me, this is a really, really nice monthly setup. We ran out all of these lows, broke away, and we're now retesting the point of origin of that entire setup.
Yep.
This looks like it has legs, high time frame. It kind of reminds me of this.
Yeah, it does. Like, it looks very similar to it. I think silver and
very
gold.
Funnily enough,
long term, I mean, they were gonna laugh at what's that guy's name? Peter
Schiff.
Yeah, Peter Spliff. Yeah.
Yeah. People hate on him, but I mean, he's got, he's worth a bunch of money and he's got a bunch of fucking gold and silver. Like,
he's rich as fuck. He does it for the clout. He knows he triggers everybody.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it totally works. Every time he posts anything about Bitcoin, his engagement goes through the roof.
So, Main, there's some questions. Where can they find you to learn your stuff?
So I have a YouTube. That's probably the best way to watch video content from me. All of my socials are TraderMain. So there's no underscores, there's no dashes, there's no numbers. So if you're getting someone messaging you on Telegram, on Discord, on Twitter, that's not just TraderMain. First of all, I'm never going to message you first. It ain't me. But YouTube and then Twitter are probably the main platforms. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok under the same handle. I do have a Discord. It's free to join. I'm also working with Prime, just like SZ is. So if you want to support us, support Prime. That's how you get in my Discord. My Discord is free, but if you use our links, send me a DM letting me know that you're using either my link or SZ's link. I'll let you into the Discord. And that's where I answer questions a little more personally. It's a lot easier than on Twitter with all the bots and all that nonsense.
Happy days. I definitely want to bring you on again, probably in the new year. So I'm going to get some dates with you because your trading style is very similar to mine. And what I like is, even if it is similar, the different views. So I think you and maybe 2-3 others I take seriously when judging my own opinion. I've got to rush off to the England game. Not to cut it short.
Of course.
That's why I made it earlier.
It's coming home.
It's coming home, lads. It's coming home. But everybody, give @TraderMain a follow. It's on his Twitter. Give him a big thank you. Thanks, bro, for coming on. I'll be DMing you anyway. Brother. But in the new year, definitely come on, mate. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Good luck, England, boys. See ya. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Sorry it's gone on a bit longer, but definitely gonna look to bring Trader Main on in the future. I hope the plans are clear. I've got to go. I want to watch the game. Have a lovely week. Good luck out there, and bye bye.